Mr. Persinger, are you being paid to be here today?
No, sir.
Why are you here?
My intentions of even contacting Chrysler to begin with is to keep this from happening to somebody else. Something needs to be changed here, fixed. It's a ticking bomb.
One thing that surprises a lot of people is how similar the design of a lot of these Jeeps were to the Ford Pinto. People assume, rightfully, that the automotive industry figured out that you shouldn't put a gas tank right next to the rear of a vehicle when the Ford Pinto started exploding in the 1970s. And most companies did. There are some, unfortunately, who still haven't learned that lesson.
My son got in an accident with a Jeep Liberty. He got hit in the rear end. It wasn't that bad of an accident, but the Jeep blew up, and in a matter of minutes, this thing was gone. And I said, you need to have your engineers or somebody look at this problem. If he couldn't have got that driver's door open, he would have been burnt.
Howard Persinger did the right thing. He called Chrysler and said, you got a real problem. These Jeeps are exploding. And I know why. It's because of where you put the gas tank.
I usually change my own oil. I was looking up underneath it and I said, man, that gas tank, I said, that's a plastic gas tank. I said, that thing is right in the rear end of this thing, and ain't nothing protected but a plastic bumper. And I told him, I said, boy, you don't want to get hit in the rear end of this thing.
If common sense wasn't enough to tell the automaker that a gas tank next to the rear bumper was going to be a problem, experience would have, because the Jeep started burning. There have been hundreds and hundreds of these Jeeps that caught fire or leaked fuel after a rear impact. Have you ever told the public, or has Chrysler ever told the public, that you are repeatedly called upon to testify in cases where rear tank Jeeps catch fire, but have never been called to testify in a case where a Jeep with a midship tank caught fire?
I have not.
Has anyone, to your knowledge, told the public that?
No.
Lots of Jeep owners contacted the manufacturer, Fiat Chrysler Automobiles, and before that Chrysler, in various different ways. Did anyone from Chrysler ever come see you?
No.
Did they ever call you back on the phone?
No.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 6. Is that the letter that you received from Chrysler?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Chrysler Group LLC conducted an investigation into the incident and inspected the vehicle. The inspector found no indication of a manufacturing defect that caused or contributed to the incident on August 13, 2011. Is that what it says?
Yes, sir.
Did Chrysler ever in any way accept responsibility for that Jeep catching on fire?
Not to me, they didn't.
Fiat Chrysler knows about this from all kinds of different sources and just didn't care. And the answer is real simple, and if people think about it, I think everyone knows it's money. They think that they can throw enough money at the problem to hide it, because it is cheaper for FCA to lie and deny responsibility than to fix the problem.
Now we've learned of growing concerns over Jeep Wrangler models and the possibility that they may catch fire as well.
The pressure on Fiat Chrysler finally mounted to a tipping point where they had to at least appear to do something. There were automotive safety groups getting after them, the press was getting after them, and in 2013, the federal government, that is the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, requested a recall. But here's what they did. They took the chairman of their board and their CEO, Sergio Marchionne, flew him over from Europe, and he met with Ray LaHood, then the United States Secretary of Transportation, and David Strickland, then the politically appointed head of NHTSA, behind closed doors at the Chicago O'Hare Airport. The meeting was not announced in advance. No press knew about it, no victims knew about it, no safety organizations knew about it. Nobody was there except these two political appointees and the CEO and chairman of Fiat Chrysler Automobiles. They say there was no agenda for the meeting, no written agenda. They say nobody took notes at the meeting. They say there were no meeting minutes circulated after the meeting, so there's no record of what happened in that room. But when it was over, the issue was solved. There was a deal struck, and that deal was that Fiat Chrysler Automobiles could get out of all this, and the investigation would be dropped if Fiat Chrysler Automobiles would just put trailer hitches on some of these Jeeps. That's the big problem. The trailer hitch doesn't help, and Fiat Chrysler knew that. 2 years before, in 2011, Francois Castaing, one of the highest-ranking executives at Fiat Chrysler Automobiles, had testified under oath that, quote, the tow package does not protect the tank, end quote.
The tow package does not protect the tank.
They knew that. They knew it wouldn't help. They did it anyway because it was cheaper. Not only did it not help, often that trailer hitch makes things worse. It hits the plastic gas tank that's sitting right in front of it, cuts the tank open, gasoline leaks, and people burn. Buying back just the Jeep Liberties would cost Fiat Chrysler Automobiles, we've calculated, about $3.7 billion. But conducting this recall, so-called recall, cost them only $151 million. So by putting on that trailer hitch, instead of buying these vehicles back and crushed them, Fiat Chrysler Automobiles saved itself over $3.5 billion. And that's why they did it, and that's why people are still burning. We're working on cases for people who died this year, and there will be people who die next year, and the year after that, and the year after that, unless and until Fiat Chrysler Automobiles does something about it. When it comes to automotive safety, what has really made a difference is not government regulation, and it's not the press, it is juries and verdicts. Isn't it true that in every Jeep fire case you have ever testified in, the Jeep that had caught fire had a rear tank?
Yes.
Did you go to trial and testify in front of a jury? And how many did Chrysler settle out of court?
I never went to a trial jury.
You've never testified in front of a jury?
I have not.
Every single one of them, except one, has settled out of court, usually on confidential terms. That one is a case that we worked on and in which we represented the parents of Remington Walden, who decided that they were not going to go quietly.
In 2012, 4-year-old Remington Walden was riding in the back of a 1999 Jeep Grand Cherokee when the Jeep was struck from behind and caught fire. According to the medical examiner, Remington died in the fire.
I'm 32. I'm really not qualified to speak as to all the opportunities that life affords, but Remington lost them all at age 4.5. Chrysler took every one of them away. Burned them all up. Chrysler had opportunity after opportunity to do what's right. They had none. Did you have any auxiliary gas cans in the cargo area of your Jeep in the rear that could have exploded?
No.
Did you have any ammunition back there?
No.
Did you have any explosives in the back of your car? Was there anything back there containing flammable material, to your knowledge, other than your gas tank?
No.
And when a jury makes a statement, like returning a verdict of $150 million against Fiat Chrysler Automobiles, that may not matter much in terms of money to the company. They've got so much money that is a drop in the bucket to them. But what does matter is the publicity that follows it. Because when people learn what Fiat Chrysler has done, they get pissed off, and they should. And they buy Jeeps in somewhat less numbers. Then you affect the company's bottom line, and that is how you make change.
You know, I've heard about this little boy that got killed. And it's terrible. I hate this. And he's in God's hands now.
When people decide to do something, whether it's call us, whether it's call someone else, it is almost always because they don't want another family to go through what they're going through. So who's at risk? Everybody. The drivers of the Jeeps especially, but also anyone who has the misfortune of rear-ending one. They think that they can throw enough money at the problem to hide it. FCA, as you might imagine, hires some of the highest priced lawyers in the United States to try to keep it safe, to try to keep its checkbook intact. FCA hires some really expensive expert witnesses who will come in for hefty fees and testify that, oh no, there's nothing wrong with the rear gas tank. Oh no, this trailer hitch is fine. And those costs, the cost of hiring expensive lawyers, expensive expert witnesses, are far lower than the cost that FCA would have to pay to actually fix the problem by buying these Jeeps back and crushing them. And that's why they keep doing it. Because it is cheaper for FCA to lie and deny responsibility than to fix the problem.
Do you have any background in automotive engineering?
No. I'm an old coal miner, but I know right's right and wrong's wrong. You need to fix something.
Candidly, I feel some almost level of guilt for that, because I feel like if the members of my profession, we lawyers, had started taking these cases to trial earlier, maybe more people would know about this. Maybe there would be some number of fewer Jeeps on the road. It's heartbreaking. The only thing you can do about it is to go after Fiat Chrysler, because there's just not a doubt in the world that they knew what would happen and let it happen for money.